Alright guys, welcome back to the video. This is where I was before I had when I had all these clips put together. And I want to show you the defense that I've been playing. So one of you guys gave a comment and said that they fixed cover 4 match with the patch, which is a beautiful thing because you guys know I am a cover 4 guy to the bone. I love the versatility of cover 4. I love how you can play different types of coverages on both sides of the field because it's a split field coverage, etc. Right? But because of it being screwed up before the patch, I haven't even tested it yet post patch. I didn't play match pretty much at all, at least cover 4 match. Okay? And the coverage that I lived in up until this point was cover 3 cloud. Now, cover 3 cloud is a coverage where if your opponent understands passing concepts, you would just get torched to death. Okay, the ball would never hit the ground. They would move up and down the field at will and they would torch you all day. Okay, but that's the problem with the game and the players that play the game. They don't understand passing concepts. Okay, and I don't blame them. I really blame Madden because I think Madden should be used as a game that should be fun, but at the same time teach the players about the game, the actual game of football. So when you watch the game and you watch the teams that you love, you actually understand some of the things that are going on. You're not just cheering them on blindly. You kind of understand the concepts, the pass protections and stuff like that. I think that's more fun. Now, some people may not see that as fun, but I think the game should at least try to teach the people. Okay? And I think it's kind of deeply concerning where I can live in a coverage like this and thrive, right? So you can use that and throw this into your toolbox and play a coverage like this. And I'll show you some of the concepts of why, I'm able to dominate with this coverage against the player base because they just don't understand a lot of different core concepts of the passing game, okay? First things first, you draw a line down the center, okay, as we see here. And notice how the offense is on the left hash. So the offense has less space to work with on the left side as opposed to the right side, okay? So the left side is what you would title the boundary side, okay? And the right side would be the field side, okay? It's pretty simple. And what a lot of people do is they will play their bunch or their trips and they will align them to the boundary side. And that is a fatal mistake because you have less space to work with your offensive threats on that particular side, right? You would much rather have your bunch or your trips to be aligned to the field side to have more space to work with. So we can use that to our advantage. And you will see examples of me using that to my advantage throughout this clip. Notice how I take the second defender in and I move him closer inside. And I do that because his speed side or his 2 receiver side is on the boundary side. He would much rather have the speed side on the field side, at least in my opinion. Now, I know he has 3 receiving threats on the right side, but he has a tight end and a wide receiver on this side. I think it would be advantageous for his offense to have 2 receivers on the field side. But that's a little too technical. You will see a greater example of what I'm trying to get at in later examples. But look at the compound problems we present because of the fact that he's putting 2 receivers on the boundary side. We can move our player closer to the LOS. Now we have 4 players in the box on the weak side of the offense where it's impossible for him to thrive with the running play in this direction. We would outnumber them running like an inside zone to the weak side. Okay, that's one thing. And then 2, with him moved inside like that, you will see in a later clip, players will panic thinking that he may be coming under pressure. On top of that, he's running a corner post combination on this side. I've never been a fan of the corner post. I think I like it against cover 4 and maybe cover 2, but it doesn't really stretch defenders in an optimal way against a coverage like this. Okay, so we'll go ahead and run it. And watch how I maintain inside leverage on the tight end. I ride him upfield, and once he cuts to the outside, I stay within that area, ready to poach a route coming inside, which would have been a post, and he throws it right to my defender, the safety, playing over the top, outer third, and he quits the game. Let's move on to another example. So again, look how many times I've called this play, right? So let's take a look at this player. You notice how on the boundary side, he has his two receiver side, but on the field side, he has the tight end and the receiver, right? So I take advantage of this. I take the outside second defender in and I move him closer to LOS. Now, we can get out leveraged to the flat by the number 2 receiver here, with us being further inside with our curl flat player, but he doesn't have enough space to really exploit us to the outside. If he runs an out pattern and catches the ball, you would have to throw a perfect throw in rhythm, okay? So watch what happens. Watch how he panics, gets rid of the ball really quickly. And I think he panicked because he thought we were bringing pressure. And that's just an example of creating a compound problem for the offense. Us moving him inside like that has him thinking that someone is coming off for a pressure. I don't even know. I think, is this the same play? No, this is the same game. I did the same exact thing. Look how I ride inside. And I ride him up the field. And 4 verts, which is theoretically should be good against a single high coverage, we're able to shut that down. Again, because I firmly believe you really need to be stretching defenders whenever a player is playing zone. And we get an interception. Okay, with cover 3 cloud, we want to leverage the outside of the formation. You see how they're condensed in? That's why I took that player and brought him to the outside of the bunch. And I did that so he's in better position to defend a route going to the outside. We want to force routes to the inside. And you notice how he was in better position to defend that little out pattern by the number 1 receiver out there. Let's play it again. Okay. And notice how he's in better position. I'm pretty sure he wanted to throw that ball. But again, pre-snap movement is key. I look at the formation. I look at where they are aligned, whether it be field or boundary. And I put my players in the optimal position to defend certain routes. Okay. So we'll get some more examples here. Okay. And we're willing to give that up. Okay. No huddle. And look how I move my curl flat to the outside of the bunch because I want him to leverage the outside of the bunch. And look how we almost get an interception. Okay, and look at how the route combination he has there. This is how you can tell someone doesn't understand passing concepts. If I've been sitting playing cover 3 cloud the entire game, why would you dial a play up like this? You're not stretching any defenders within the zone coverage that I have called. And that's how you can tell within the first 5 or 6 plays, if you call in cover 3 cloud the entire time, if your opponent understands how to attack it. If they don't, you can just live in this coverage all game, right? So here's an example where I don't think my opponent understood how to exploit it, but I think he picked a play that coincidentally was able to exploit it. And you do that by stretching a defender. You see how we get a high-low read here? That's the proper way to stretch the flat defender or the curl flat defender on either side of cover 3 cloud. So because I understand that my opponent probably picked that play coincidentally, and he probably doesn't understand how to stretch defenders, I decided to stay in this coverage and take the safety, or the corner I should say, who's responsible for the outer third, and play that a lot more properly. You see how I sat on that corner route? I'll play it again. Okay. The computer would just drift off into space and that corner would be a lot more inviting to throw. Okay. And he's occupying the underneath defender with that out pattern, as we see here. So this is where he should be able to throw the corner. But because we understand that he's going to pick the same play again because he thought that there was an opening, we can take the safety, or the corner I should say, and drive on that corner pattern, knowing that, okay, the underneath defender is occupied. We can play a lot more aggressive on the corner route, knowing that our opponent is looking to throw that because he thinks he has a high-low read on that side. Okay. Now, if you played against an opponent who understood passing concepts, he wouldn't just dial the same play. He would go to so many different plays and would understand where he could attack knowing where he could stretch and vertically and horizontally stretch defenders. Okay. So I'm gonna leave it at that, guys. That's just the beginning. I hope you learned. Basically, what I was trying to get at in this video is you can make your play, your defensive play, 1,000 times better just by moving players in a better position to defend where your opponent is not playing optimally, right? So if he's playing on the boundary and he's playing trips into the boundary, or bunch into the boundary, you can do things with that curl flat on that side, knowing that there's not a lot of space for them to attack the outside on the boundary side. You can move them around, you can bring them closer to the box, and etc. You could play games with your opponent. And then number two, you can sit in a lot of different zone coverages if you notice that your opponent is not really utilizing passing concepts. He's not horizontally stretching defenders. He's not vertically stretching defenders. He's not using triangle reads. Okay? Then why would you play man coverage? Okay? Think about it. If your opponent is just spamming slants, crossing patterns, going to bunch formations, and just hot routing people to death, going with crossing and post patterns and etc., why would you want to play man coverage against that? Okay? The way you attack man coverage, at least one of the ways, is to run away from man. Right? Kurt Warner says it all the time. To beat man coverage, you run away from man. To beat zone coverage, you stretch defenders. Right? So if they're running plays where they're just running crossing patterns, picking formations to where you condense the formation and just cross across the field all the time, why would you ever want to play man coverage against that? You're going to have your men chasing them from behind, getting rubbed and picked off. Okay? In situations like that where they're not stretching defenders, you can sit in zone, right? Now on the flip side of that, when you run across an opponent that does high-low defenders, that is where you want to play match coverage. That's where match is key. Match is designed in a way to where you can utilize leverage in your favor and match routes so you don't get high load, right? Okay? The game of football is so vast, So when you run into somebody who not only beats man with the route design that they have, but they also stretch defenders, well, now you're in trouble, okay? And that is why, you can tell when an offense is schemed beautifully, when, it's able to beat man with the route concepts they have called, but also stretch defenders with the route concepts they have called. Okay? Of course, if you run into a guy like Peyton Manning, he can call just a straight up play that's specifically designed to beat man and be confident in that, because when he dials it up and calls it, it's because he knows you're a man, right? He knows you're not in zone. Like, he's able to read the defense pre-snap and etc. He'll call a play that's really only good against beating a particular zone, not afraid of you being a man, because he's able to read the defense and know pre-snap that you're not playing a particular man coverage, etc. Okay? So, I'll leave it at that. I don't want to go too long, but hopefully I'll make another video. I think I'm going to make more videos utilizing the boundary and field side to your advantage as a defense. And I think I'm going to start implementing match coverage, right, with the split field coverage, where we can bring pressure from the boundary side. We could play with the corner on the boundary side. You do a lot of unique stuff just with understanding boundary and field, because a lot of people online, they don't understand that, and they play the strength of their offense on the boundary side a little bit too much. I'll leave it at that. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you keep coming back, man. Peace.